Okay, so you want to know more about expat health insurance?
It's a good thing to be thinking about.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I know it sounds kind of boring.
It is until you need it.
Right, exactly. Like, nobody wants to think about getting sick or hurt, especially when you're, off having adventures in, Thailand or wherever.
Yeah. No one wants to be stuck with a giant medical bill in a foreign country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today we're doing a deep dive into some interesting stuff we found in, this podcast episode called "Welcome to the Expat Health Essentials Podcast."
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah, and full disclosure, like they are promoting their own product called Expat Flexible Global Health Insurance,
Yeah.
but we're not doing that.
No endorsements here.
We just thought it had some interesting points in it.
Yeah, some good stuff to consider for sure.
Right. So let's dive in. This Expat Flexible thing. It covers you globally for up to 5 years.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and whether you're working or just traveling, it doesn't matter.
That's a plus for a lot of people.
Right. And you mentioned you're interested in Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand's top of the list right now.
So their basic plan in Thailand starts at $145 per month.
That's pretty competitive.
Yeah, I thought so too. And they really emphasize this ability to switch countries without losing coverage.
Oh, that is huge.
Right. And I thought of you immediately when I saw that because I know how much you love, going all over the place.
Oh, yeah. If I could, I'd be in a different country every month.
I know you would.
Ah.
I know you would. And with this plan, you could and still be covered, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a big deal for digital nomads, especially.
Right, especially since it also covers the Schengen visa requirements.
Oh, yeah, that's something a lot of people don't think about.
Right, it's like a whole other thing to worry about when you're traveling Europe.
Exactly. You don't need separate travel insurance for each country you visit.
So it really streamlines everything, makes it a lot easier.
Definitely less paperwork.
Less paperwork, always good.
Yeah.
And I also saw they mentioned legal expense insurance for patients.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I was curious about that. Like, what does that actually mean?
Basically, it means if you have to take legal action related to your medical treatment abroad, they'll cover those expenses.
Okay, so if something goes wrong and you need a lawyer?
Exactly. It's like an extra layer of protection just in case you need it.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what could happen, right?
Especially in a foreign country where you might not be familiar with the laws and stuff.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual coverage. They offer two plans, the Basis and Plus S. Both of them claim 100% coverage for outpatient and inpatient treatment, medication, and emergency transport.
Sounds pretty comprehensive.
Right. But I think it's important to clarify what they mean by outpatient and inpatient.
Yeah, for sure. So people know exactly what's covered.
So outpatient means you're not admitted to the hospital.
Right, like a doctor's appointment or minor procedure.
Okay, got it. And then inpatient is when you have to stay in the hospital overnight or longer.
Exactly, like for surgery or something serious.
Makes sense. So basically routine checkups versus, needing hospitalization.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. And the PLOS plan adds some extra stuff like coverage for dental prostheses, preventative cancer screenings, and allowances for visual aids.
That's a significant step up.
Yeah, especially if you're concerned about those things.
Yeah, it definitely broadens the coverage.
But here's the catch. There are some exclusions.
Ah, yes, the fine print.
They don't cover pre-existing conditions, mental health, artificial insemination, dependency-related treatments, and pregnancy or childbirth.
That's a pretty long list.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. How common are those exclusions in other plans?
It's not unusual, especially for plans that are trying to keep costs down.
So are they sacrificing comprehensiveness for affordability?
It's a trade-off, for sure.
Okay, so you really have to understand your individual needs and priorities.
Exactly. If any of those excluded areas are important to you, you might need to look elsewhere.
Even if it costs more.
Yeah, sometimes you have to pay for the peace of mind.
Right, well, they do offer a 247 multilingual emergency hotline, which I thought was a nice touch.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge relief for people who are worried about communicating in a foreign language.
Especially in an emergency situation.
Exactly, when you need help the most.
But keep in mind, there is a waiting period before the coverage kicks in.
Oh, right, you're not protected immediately.
Yeah, so you need to plan ahead.
And there's an age limit, too, maximum 66 years old, with a policy cap of 5 years.
So there's some time constraints to consider.
Definitely.
And I saw they mentioned potential surcharges for installment payments.
Ah, yes. Another thing to factor into the overall cost.
Right. You got to look at the big picture.
Always read the fine print.
So to summarize, Expat Flexible seems to offer pretty decent coverage, but with some notable exclusions.
It's a good option for some people.
It's designed for flexibility for people who are moving between countries.
Yeah, the digital nomad crowd.
And it aims to be budget-friendly and straightforward.
Definitely.
So here's something to think about as you continue your research.
Okay, I'm listening.
Does this type of insurance align with your personal vision of living or working abroad?
That's a good question.
Does it provide the peace of mind you're seeking, or are there other factors you need to prioritize?
It's all about finding the right fit for your individual circumstances.
Right, and just remember, we only looked at one source today.
There are tons of options out there.
So do your research, compare different plans, and make sure you understand all the details before you commit.
Solid.